Welcome back to the program. It's the Vicky McKenna Show. And I am delighted to have back on the show Bil Schmidtknecht. Bil is a dad who has taken it upon himself to shepherd legislation that would help so many people in Wisconsin. He took this on himself. It's the PBM Reform legislation, and I've got Bil on to talk about it because we're running out of time to get this passed. The clock is ticking on this. So, Bil, first off, if you don't mind sharing the reason why you just decided to set everything aside and just fight for this legislation in Wisconsin, which will, as I say, help so many people in our state.
Well, thank you, Vicki. Yeah, well, this legislation is actually named Cole's Act, and that is after my son Cole, who passed away in January of 24 after he was denied his medicine or prohibited to get his medicine by a crazy price. I can go over the story a little bit here today just to let you know the details of it. And my son walked into a pharmacy, a chain pharmacy, on January 10th of 2024. He was getting his routine asthma medicine. He had been on it for many, many years. It was not a abnormal thing he was doing. When he got to the pharmacy counter, he asked for his prescriptions and was told that his rescue inhaler was $5, but unfortunately that his steroid medicine was no longer covered. If he wanted it, it'd be over $500. My son that night made a decision to choose rent or his medicine, and he chose rent and walked out of the pharmacy. 5 days later, he suffered a massive asthma attack that led to cardiac arrest, and he died on January 21st of 2024. And that changed our life. My wife, myself, Cole was gone. And obviously our families are devastated, everything like that. It took a little while to let the dust settle. But after that, I was met by an independent pharmacy owner in Wisconsin. He kind of opened the Pandora's box a little bit. There was another incident where I had to get my medicine and it was denied. That was the first box that opened. But really, when I met with this gentleman who owns a chain of pharmacies in Wisconsin along with pharmacists, he told us what the problem was, and that was the top pharmacy benefit managers. And from that day forward, that was about April of 2024, I did dedicate my life to getting justice for my son Cole and making sure no one else gets hurt or dies from these tactics of the top pharmacy benefit managers.
So pharmacy benefit managers, which started out as a good thing, I think that most people agree, have become a way for insurance companies to essentially control and restrict what drugs are covered based on benefits that they receive from companies, and you're stuck with them. If that's your benefit manager, if your benefit manager is under your insurance company, and typically they own the benefit managers, you have to get the drugs that they have negotiated deals for themselves. Those are the drugs you get. And if they didn't negotiate a deal like they did on Cole's asthma medicine, then your kid doesn't get that asthma medicine, or you don't get whatever drug your doctor told you needed because your PBM and your insurance company decided they weren't making enough money off of you with that drug.
Yeah, well, and I'll just touch base real fast. It's vertical integration at its best is what it is. The health companies, insurance companies own the doctors. They own the purchasing agents. They own the manufacturers in some cases. They own the PBMs. They own the mail order pharmacies, and they own the brick and mortar pharmacies. They control it all. So when like you said, when your doctor says you need this, somebody at the other side of the same company is saying, no. We get a rebate on this one. We're going to do this one better because we make more money.
And by the way, no one told Cole that there was maybe an independent pharmacy he could have gone to, or he could have found, a cheaper cash price for that drug. because that's also not allowed because of the contracts that are signed with the pharmacists. In order to get your insurance reimbursements, you've got to make sure that you follow their rules, right? So no one could just say, hey, Cole, maybe we can find you a place where you can get this cheaper, and then you can have a conversation later with your insurance company on this.
There's been known that contracts are written that way 100%. They're called like gag clauses, essentially. I mean, it falls under that realm, and that's a theory that a lot of independent pharmacies have been more vocal on. I can tell you this, the independent pharmacies in Wisconsin and across the nation aren't caring about that clause anymore. They're taking the repercussions from the top pharmacy benefit managers and speaking out because of, Cole's story is one of many in this country, but Cole's story broke the camel's back, honestly, because you're right. There was no notice on his switch. It was a non-medical switch, and there was no notice from his PBM that they were switching the medicine.
Yeah, so no one said, hey, buddy, your medicine's going to cost $500. Maybe call your doctor. Here's another option. Or your doctor says, well, I'm going to find you samples until we can figure out how you can afford to pay for your medicine. This is, by the way, a really standard medicine. We're not talking about some rare, brand new thing. It's an old medicine. It should have been covered, and someone should have helped this young man. And that's what, and the legislation essentially does that. It says you're not allowed to do this to people any longer. You can't just negotiate deals for yourself and leave people hanging. How does it specifically improve the process?
Well, first off, it's going to put some meat into the notification of switching, like a medicine. It's also going to limit the amount of switching of your medication that can happen throughout your benefit year. So like they're not going to be able to just like, oh, we got a rebate better on this one, let's switch it next month. Oh, a different one next month. They have to lock that sucker in until benefit time. The other really big thing is it puts a fiduciary responsibility back on the PBM, because right now the PBMs make these decisions, and the self-insured employers, for example, are left holding the bag when consequences happen. And they'll say, hey, they made the decision, not us. And that happens all the time. That's part of the whole game that they play. This is so deep, but the fact of what we're talking about is my son's medicine. I can tell you it costs $1.76 to produce. He was told it was over $500 at this chain pharmacy after his PBM changed the prescription coverage.
Yeah, it's $1.76, and he was being charged $500. I would like to know where they get any kind of argument to charge that boy $500 for $1.76. Yeah. Maybe you mark it up twice, 100%. You mark it up 100%, and you're still under $5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
So that's why. I God bless you for being able to channel what has to just be outrage into activism like this. But my goodness, no one just could have told him, here's your cash price. If you come in and just don't put your insurance card down, just come in and say, I want to pay cash. Here's what we're going to charge you. Because if he runs it through his insurance, that's what they're going to charge him. The insurance makes $592.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, $492.
Yeah, $492. It was $538.19 is what he was told he had to pay. $538.19. That's the reality of what he was told at that counter that night. That's what's insane about it. And it used to be like $35, depending on the part of the benefit year, maybe up to $60. You know how that fluctuates with your deductible. And but that's one of the games we played. It is so deep. Every angle you're looking at, and there was actually a viable option. He could have had that. Well, he could have had access to, but it needed a prior authorization that night. That was a nighttime, and prior authorization is a whole other story. There's no way he could have got a prior authorization in time to even make anything change, because it was going in. It was a Wednesday night. Get back to your doctor. He submits the prior authorization. Now it's got to be approved by the PBM, and it was too late because.
Why should a PBM have to decide whether a doctor's recommendation is acceptable for a patient? But this is going on across the country. 89% of PBMs are vertically integrated with the insurance companies themselves. That blew my mind.
They cover 84 to 89% of Americans use one of 3 top PBMs, pharmacy benefit managers in America. And it's factually proven to the tune of about $500 billion in profit to the healthcare company.
And that profit goes up every single year.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, the other side of this thing is, though, I'm going to just really fast touch on this. How do I know he could have been offered something? Well, I had the same asthma. I presented my prescriptions at my pharmacy a couple weeks later, and mine was denied the exact same way. I had the exact same insurance, but guess what? I was at an independent pharmacy, and that pharmacist would not let us leave the pharmacy till she found an option. And even worse, after finding that option and getting it to us before we left, she lost money selling it to us.
Truly.
Because that's the other game that they play, because they need to get rid of their competitors and their vertical integration, so they under-reimburse the independent pharmacies. And that's part. There's some portions of this legislation that'll take care of that too a little bit. You know, it's like this is all encompassing, is what this thing is. It goes over to the copay game that they play. You know, you use GoodRx, you hear GoodRx all over the TV and everything, but as soon as you do that, it doesn't apply towards your deductible. So you have to pay more to the insurance company and buy it from GoodRx, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Like this PBM reform bill, SB 203, or Coles Act, is a powerful PBM reform bill, and I believe that totally leads into some of the stuff that we're having happen to us and not getting it passed immediately.
So we have to get this passed. So this is now a process that's been going on for almost 2 years. Representative Todd Novak is the author of the Assembly version of the bill. He, as I understand, just submitted it for hearing in the Assembly. It looks like it's already got the votes to pass in the Senate. It just needs to be scheduled. Yeah. This needs to be scheduled. The hearings in the Assembly need to be scheduled. The vote needs to be called. The Senate needs to pull the bill forward for a vote. And it's bipartisan. I mean, nobody disagrees with you on this except lobbyists, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like right now, if you look at the brass tacks of this, we have 20 senators that say, let's do this. And we have 13 that just haven't committed to it yet, essentially.
So, but the 20 is enough to pass it. 20 is enough to pass it. I mean, come on.
And it is bipartisan. It's 11 Democrats and 9 Republicans, for crying out loud. I mean, like, it's not like it's so terrible. I mean, like, it's,
Well, actually, I think if you've got these non-committals, I'm guessing more than 50% of the non-committals are probably absolute yeses on this bill. So just pull it. It's called Coles Act. Here's what we want people to do. Because it's such, I mean, it's a people positive piece of legislation. It's not a rigged game piece of legislation. There's no poison pill in it. It's a purely people positive piece of legislation. And so we want people just to make a call to their rep, right? Or their senator, Democrat or Republican, and say, please support Coles Act. If you're making a call to an assemblyman, say, you know, the author just asked for a hearing, please commit to supporting Coles Act.
Yeah, and to the Assembly, it's AB 173. So SB 203 for the Senate, AB 173 for the Assembly, but otherwise known as Coles Act.
COLE''S Act, Coles Act, AB 173 in the Assembly, SB 203. The clock is ticking on the session, and so we need to have people start acting on this now, whether you got to start all from scratch again, and that's just not fair. It's not fair to you, Bill. It's not fair to anyone.
Well, Vicky, and if I could throw one more thing out there, I am making this easy for people at my website. It's really simple. It's click a couple buttons and we'll help you write the letter, give you the phone numbers. If you would go to patientprotector.us, patientprotector.us, 2 words, .us. Click on Support Coles Act. When you get to that page, it's right at the top. There's a selection there. You just fill out a little information, select if you want to send an email, make a phone call, or post on Twitter. And it'll generate your letter, it'll generate your phone script, and give you your direct numbers to your legislators. It takes 2 minutes. Patientprotector.us. Patient, with no S, protector.us.
Thank you so much, Bill, for coming on the show today. Always wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And we will take a break. That was Bil Schmidtknecht. I will be right back.